welcome to the CNBC-TV18 Mumbai newsroom. I'm Ekta Batran. You're watching Your Stocks this afternoon. Well, it's turning out to be a session where we are definitely seeing some amount of weakness for our markets. So we have the Nifty, which is down over 50 odd points. We have the mid-cap index, which is down close to around 200 odd points. Other asset classes are weak as well. So, for example, we do have the rupee, which has been sitting at record lows in today's trading session. So that weakness continues. But in such a market which is quite volatile and is dancing to the tune of what is taking place globally, we do have a lot of questions coming in and queries coming in terms of stocks. So joining us this afternoon, we have Ruchit Jain, who's the lead research at 5paisa.com, and Astha Jain, who's the research analyst at Hem Securities, on the fundamentals to answer all of your queries. Astha as well as Ruchit, welcome to the show. Well, without any further ado, let's get going in terms of a couple of questions that we have lined up this afternoon for you. Korean John is the first query that we have, and he's writing in from Kerala. He has 500 shares of Snowman Logistics, which he's bought at around 52 rupees. And he also has 700 shares of Federal Bank, which he's bought at around 100 rupees odd. So Federal Bank currently at around 122. He wants to know whether to stay invested or exit at current levels. Astha, let's start with you on the fundamentals. He's not sitting too well in terms of Snowman Logistics and, the investment there. But Federal Bank has not done too badly for him at this point in time. So what would you recommend on both of these counters?
Good afternoon, Ekta. Talking about, first of all, Federal Bank, my take is hold because I'm expecting strong set of numbers. In fact, if we talk about the bank itself, the fundamentals are very strong. Why the fundamentals are strong? Because the floating rate loan mix is working well for the bank. In fact, they're improving CD ratio, higher CASA ratio. All these will be working in the favor of bank in this rising interest rate scenario also. The loan book has shown strong growth. In fact, the corporate rated loan book has shown the higher ratings. So all in all, everything is working well for this bank, and we are expecting strong set of numbers going ahead also. So my take is hold on this stock with a price target of around 150 in the medium term. Talking about Snowman Logistics, again, a logistics space is looking good to us. Why? Because in the logistics space, if we talk about particularly Snowman Logistics, we have seen a strong shift from the unorganized to organized sector, because there is more and more demand coming from there. More and more demand is coming for these, logistics counter, and Snowman Logistics is one part of them. So all in all, this logistics space is also looking good to us. And in fact, they have a strong number of the warehouses, in which they have 41 warehouses, I suppose, working in the 17 cities. So Snowman Logistics is also hold from my side. Price target is not higher. It is only 45 rupees at the present momentum of time. But if the results will come in our favor, then again the stock can be re-rated. But for the time being, 45 can be attributed as a price target to Snowman Logistics.
Okay, all right. 45 is the target that Astha has on the fundamentals when it comes to Snowman Logistics. But Ruchit, what would you recommend, with regards to an investment such as Snowman Logistics? Because, it's currently down around 30 odd % from the buy price of 52 rupees. Federal Bank is doing well. On both these, technically, what would you recommend?
Hi, very good afternoon, Ekta. Well, let me start with Snowman Logistics first. Well, overall, we have seen recently the logistics stocks have witnessed a good price volume action, where the price up moves have been supported by good volumes. But I think one needs to be very stock specific when it comes to this sector. And Snowman Logistics, if we look at the weekly or the monthly chart, then it does not seem that the stock would see any significant higher returns going ahead. So I think the relative underperformance, maybe the stock may not correct much from current levels, but it may continue to relatively show some underperformance compared to other stocks in this space. So I would suggest him to make a switch over here rather than Snowman Logistics. I think Gati would be a better pick instead of that, so that he remains on the same sector and with a better one, where in case the logistics stocks show some good up move going ahead, then outperformance would be there and the losses could be covered earlier from there compared to sitting with Snowman Logistics. So exit Snowman and convert to Gati. And Federal Bank would be a hold, as high top, high bottom structure is there. The trends for the stock is positive, and the up move in last couple of months have been supported by good rising volume. So overall, the structure looks positive. From a positional perspective, around 140 rupees target could be expected in this, where again he can review it over there.
Okay, switch to Gati on the technicals, and Federal Bank, there could be a target of around 140 odd on Federal, so that's the word coming in. But let's get in another query then. Rajesh calls in from Bangalore. He has investments in Paytm, RBL Bank and Zomato. Rajesh, hi.
Good afternoon, Ekta.
Afternoon. Tell
I'm
us.
looking for a long-term investment for 3 to 5 years at least. I have, reflecting about 150 shares of Paytm and about 2,200 of Zomato and about 1,300 of RBL. I'm looking for further dips when I can buy during dips. So as I told you, my horizon is 3 to 5 years minimum.
Okay, so your horizon is around 3 to 5 years. And currently your buy price for Paytm is 1,200, RBL Bank is 132 and Zomato is around 62. So quantity seems to be the largest for Zomato at this point, around 2,200 odd shares. Let's start with Astha. Astha, it's a fundamental question, 3 to 5 year horizon in terms of holding on to these stocks. Two of them are recent listings and they're from the new age sector of stocks really. What would you recommend on Paytm and Zomato and then RBL Bank?
So Ekta, as we don't cover Paytm, so I will not be able to give my recommendation on the stock in particular. But talking about Zomato first, I think he can hold the stock. Although the initial price targets which I'm giving is around 80 rupees, but here the horizon is long, so I think there is no problem in keeping the stock. There are 2-3 things which are working well for Zomato at present point of time. First of all, their hyper pure vertical or the business is working good for the company, and I think this vertical has a great addressable market also going ahead, in which they provide kitchen supplies to all the restaurant makers, as we all know. So here this hyper pure is looking good to us, and the other thing which is looking comfortable on the part of Blinkit. So I think even Blinkit is working well for this company. So all in all, I think these two verticals will provide a strong impetus to the company going ahead also. And for this hyper pure, I'm very much optimistic because the margins we are expect to be around 10 to 15% in range going ahead. So I think Zomato for the time being, he can hold the stock. Price target at the initial level is 70 to 80 rupees. Talking about RBL Bank is again looking good to us as we are positive on the banking space as a whole. So here for the RBL, I'm just giving the initial price target, but here the investment horizon is long term. So I think there is no problem in keeping them for the longer term horizon also. But the initial target for the RBL Bank is again around rupees 150 because we are expecting 15% sort of growth for the loan growth for this bank in the coming quarters. And again, their focus is on increasing more secured assets. They are focusing more on the high yielding business like cards, microfinance, etc. So all these things will be working well for the company if everything goes in the favor of bank. So I think for RBL Bank also, he can hold at least for the price target of rupees 150 at the initial level.
Okay, all right. So Astha, you don't have a call on Paytm, so maybe we can ask Ruchit specifically on that. Ruchit, I know it's a long-term horizon that we're asking, but technically, how does Paytm look to you?
Post listing, it's quite clear that earlier the trend was negative when the prices have seen a sharp correction. But of late, we have seen that the prices have slipped into some consolidation phase where more of a range-bound activity have been seen. Now, whatever data is available on the historical charts, the resistance for the stock would come around 830, 850 range, where we can see some swing highs as well as the 200-day exponential moving average. So I think you can wait as of now. But no, from a 3 to 5 years perspective also, if the stock comes around 830, 850 range, that would ideally be good levels to review again whether the price up moves have been supported by rising volumes or not. In case the price up move does not witness a higher volume action, then I think around 830 would be good levels to exit from it.
Okay, around 830 would be good levels to exit from Paytm. So that's the word coming in on all three of those counters. Rajesh, I hope that helped you. But let's get to another question then. Moshmi Das writes to us from Asansol, and she has an investment query. She wants to purchase shares of stocks such as Tata Power, Poonawalla Fincorp, Siant and Action Construction Equipment, all for a period of 2 to 3 years. So long-term horizon here. She wants to know which stock is right for her. So maybe one out of these or all of them, we don't know. Astha, what is your recommendation? Again, 2 to 3 years is what the question is in terms of a timeline of investment. So what would you recommend? A little of all of them, or just to diversify your portfolio a little bit, or which one would your probable top pick be?
I would like to go with Poonawalla FinCorp first of all, although the price target can be at the initial level again 350 or 400. So Poonawalla FinCorp is looking good to me. And the second is Tata Power. I'm not very much comfortable with the Cyient. So out of these three, I would recommend her to go with the Poonawalla FinCorp as well as Tata Power. Now talking about Poonawalla FinCorp, as we all know, I mean, it is a subsidiary of other Poonawalla holding company, which is Rising Sun Limited, as far as I remember the name correct. Pardon me if I'm wrong. And this NBFC is looking good to me because it is a tech-driven NBFC, and they have a very strong AUM. Their main focus is on MSME lending, business loans, etc. And now the management focus is like they are planning to double their AUM. If I talk about coming 3 to 5 years, so Poonawalla FinCorp is looking really good to me, so she can make the investment in that. Talking about Tata Power is looking good to me, but this is a slow mover stock. First of all, I would just like to mention. So, I mean, Tata Power is looking good. So again, she can make the investment, because talking about Tata Power, they are doing a very strong capex of around, I suppose, 1 trillion capex they are planning, and out of this also they are planning to go for 80% towards the green business. So I think again this is a very key point for this company, and by this they will be doubling their revenues in coming 3 to 5 years time horizon. In fact, their bottom line are also expected to have a strong impetus after this. So even Tata Power is looking good to me. So for out of these three, I would recommend to go with Tata Power as well as Poonawalla FinCorp.
Okay, well, Ruchit, which one would your top pick be technically?
So technically, I think amongst this name, Poonawalla FinCorp has the strongest charts, where high top, high bottom structure is there, good volumes are there, and even we have seen that whenever price corrections are there, at lower levels there is always buying interest coming in. So Poonawalla FinCorp looks the strongest amongst this. And instead of Cyient, I would recommend another mid-cap IT name, which is KPIT Technologies. If you compare KPIT Tech with other mid-cap IT names in the recent past, then amidst this corrective phase in the IT names, the stock has relatively held quite well and have showed a good outperformance compared to its peers. So usually during the downtrend, whenever the stocks show outperformance, then whenever the tide turns for the IT space, I think this will be the one which would show a good outperformance. So Poonawalla FinCorp, and within the mid-cap IT names, I think KPIT Tech could be preferred as a buying at current levels.
Okay, all right. Well, Poonawalla FinCorp at least stands out as a commonality both between Astha as well as Ruchit. We need to take a short break with the news that the bank nifty is down over 300 odd points. There has been a little bit of an intraday recovery which has taken place in the rupee, but not as much. Still a record low for the rupee, surpassed 82.3 currently for the rupee against the dollar. Take a quick break. We'll be back to answer more queries on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Your Stocks this Friday afternoon. Let's get in a couple of more queries. We do still have our guest with us, Ruchit Jain, who's joining in on the technicals, and Astha Jain, who's here from HEM to answer all of your fundamental queries. Well, let's get to another query then. Anu Agarwal writes to us from Mumbai with a question. She has investments in Hero MotoCorp. She holds around 1,000 shares of Hero MotoCorp, which she's bought around 2,780 rupees. She's making a loss of around 4% on her investments. She wants to know whether to stay invested or book her losses and exit at current levels. Well, Hero Moto has been in focus on account of the launch of their first electric scooter today as well. So maybe that stock is seeing momentum on account of that. But Astha, let's come to you on this one. It's in focus because of this new launch, and it's just about 4% away from the buy price. Do you think that it's an investment to hold on to? And if so, what is the upside that you're expecting and in what time frame?
Sure. So she can hold this investment. Time frame is more than 6 months, and price target is more than 3,000 rupees. So again, as you have rightly said, today they have a launch of the electric scooter under the name Vida. That means life in Spanish. It is a Spanish word. And one more important point about this company is that they have hold a very strong market share because they have a 50% market share in the domestic motorcycle business. And going ahead also, we are expecting automobile industry to perform well, and Hero Motor Corp will be a key beneficiary to that because they all are seeing that wedding seasons are going on, festival season is there. So there is a huge demand which is coming, and I think the company will be key beneficiary to all that. So yes, she can hold this investment and she need not to worry. Maybe the time horizon can be 3 to 6 months, but I think she will not only see her cost, but again, she can see upside till 2,900 to 3,000 levels for Hero Motocorp.
Okay, well, Ruchit, would you share that view?
I think within the two-wheeler space, if we look at the other stocks, then TVS Motor has much better chart structure rather than Hero MotoCorp. In the recent past, we have seen that the stock has given a breakdown from a rising wedge pattern, which usually is not that good. So if she has a bit mid to long-term perspective, then can continue to hold. But from a short-term perspective, I think the upside would be limited, and resistance is placed around 2,800, exactly near the buy price. So I would take a call that keep a sell on rise strategy, and when the stock comes around the cost price, look to exit from this and rather prefer either TVS Motor from the two-wheeler space or from the entire auto basket from the four-wheeler space. Mahindra and Mahindra or Maruti should be preferred.
Okay, all right. So that's the word coming in on Hero MotoCorp. Well, we have time for a couple of more queries. So let's get going on that. Suman Agarwal writes to us from Raipur. She holds 10 shares of TCS, which she's bought at around 3,662, and 70 shares of Indian Energy Exchange, which she's bought at 383 rupees. She's making losses on both her investments, more so for IEX. She wants to know whether to stay invested or book her losses and exit. Ruchit, let's start on the technicals for this one, both IEX as well as TCS.
So both the stocks have seen a decent correction in last 6 months post this October 2021 when the markets have corrected. But frankly, if I look at some longer term charts, then this seems to be retracing the entire up move which we had seen from 2020 COVID lows. So I think it's a bit late to exit right now. So no point at this prices, the losses should not be booked. So I would recommend to have some more patience, maybe some a view of 1 year or more than that, and continue to hold into these stocks.
Okay, continue to hold. And Astha, what would you recommend on the fundamentals?
For TCS, I think results are there. So we are expecting strong set of numbers, not very strong, but again 3% quarter-on-quarter constant currency growth. And we are expecting some sort of margin expansion also around 50 bips in their EBIT margins. So I think TCS can be hold for the price target of 3,200 to 3,400. For IEX, although she's making huge losses. So let's wait for at least the results to come, and then again she can review her position, because IEX, the management is expecting strong growth because of the new launches, and they are doing some sort of investments in the technology also. But how all these will be panning out, we really need to see.
Astha, I just wanted to interrupt you. Your price target on TCS is 3,200 to 3,400?
Yes, 3,200 to 3,400, but that too in the longer run, and if they really surpass our result expectations.
Okay, but Suman's buy price is around 3,600 plus. So what would you recommend in that case?
So these price targets which I'm recommending is at the initial level, not at the, because in the longer term we can see a huge upside also if everything goes in favor, but she really need to wait for at least 1 year or so. But at the initial level, because the stock is trading at around 3,000 level, so at the initial level I'm giving these price target. But yes, she can wait for her cost to come at least for a year or so.
Okay, all right, Astha as well as Ruchit, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and giving us all of your thoughts in terms of the queries that we have from a lot of the investors, retail investors, on a longer as well as shorter time frame for investments. Well, for the markets, it seems as though there's a little bit of a recovery which we have on our hands. We have the Bank Nifty, which is now down around 255 odd points, versus over 300 odd point cut that we were dealing with just a couple of minutes back. That's all the time that we do have on the show, but do remember to email us your queries and we will address them with our experts. Stay tuned for Closing Bell to take you through the last hour of trade.